Yeah, okay. Wait. Now everyone can see, I think so.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us continue to the same topic that is in the last class we discussed about history of Java, and we are discussing some of the features which are related to the C and C++ programming language. So as we know that C language is a structured programming language, and a C++ is a structured as well as object-oriented programming language. And also we say that C++ is one kind of a advanced programming language when compared to the C language. So when we discuss about C and C++, there are slight differences between them. That is C programming. In C programming, we are able to write a program in only C construct, that is using functions. That's why it is called as a structured oriented programming. When compared to C++, it also contains structured programming language like functions. It uses the concepts of functions, structures, and also the object-oriented concepts like classes, objects. So these are the slight differences, the small differences between the C and C++. Now when we compare the programming part, as we know, we discussed all these things. That is, Java has been designed by the Sun Microsystems with a group of people. Initially, it is called as Oak language. Later on, it has renamed as Java in the year 1995. And the first browser which is developed in the 1994 is WebRunner using Java language. And it is renamed as Hot Java also. Next, we will see the execution process of a C and C++ program, which is different from Java programming language. As we know, it is initially we write a program in some kind of an editor called as a Turbo C or C++ when it comes to C and C++ language. Any file or any code which is written in C language, it is extended by .c as is a file extension which contains the source file. And after that, it has to be compiled by the compiler. After compiling your source file of C program, it will generate two types of files. One is obj file, and obj is nothing but object file. And next we have .exe file, that is executable file through which we can run the C program. So these are the various stages where we are seeing first the source program has been written and it is compiled by the C compiler, and after that it will generate first.obj. The file name is first.c as a source program, and it contains first.obj as object file. After that, the object file is linked with some library functions, that is header files. If you are using any kind of functions related to the screen input output like printf, scanf in C program, then the related information regarding the printf and scanf will be added by the linker. And after that, it will be, after linking to the obj file, it will generate .exe file. Now the exe file will be loaded by the loader into the RAM for execution. So this is a process of executing any C or C++ program in Turbo C editor or Turbo C++ editor. Now coming to the execution process of the Java, which is different from the C and C++. As you can see, there is a source file. There is a source code and the extension is written as, for suppose there is one kind of a file name is created as A, file name is A. For any file which is written in Java, the extension should be .java, file name followed by the .java. So we write the program, that is lines of code, into the source code. And after that, it will be compiled by the Java compiler. As we know that in Turbo C, we have a C compiler. Similarly, the Java also contains a Java compiler, which compiles the .java file. And after that, you observe that there is what kind of a file which is generated after compiling, that is .class file. .class file is one kind of a file which contains a different code, that is byte code. As we know in C language, we have obj file that is converted into exe file. Now similarly here, when that is different. When compared to C, it is different. Now it contains a byte code. Now what exactly a byte code means? So whatever source code contains a data source program that is totally divided or created in the form of bytes, and they are converted into byte code, which cannot be readable by the human. No one can read such kind of a byte code. So that is a file which will be generated after executing a source code called as a.java. Now this byte code, it is not the executable file, it is only the byte code, the intermediate code that will be given to, there is a section called as JVM. Here you can observe this, there is a Java virtual machine. So there is a Java virtual machine which takes the bytecode as input or .class file as input. And after that, JVL will perform all necessary execution process, and it will be creating this, it will generate the machine code of the .class file, and it will be executed. So what about JVM? What is JVM exactly? JVM will be discussed in the upcoming classes. You don't worry. First, the execution process of Java program is nothing but a source code is converted into a .class file. There is a compiler called as Java compiler, which will convert source code into .class file, which contains byte code. Can you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. After conversion of bytecode, that bytecode file name is .class file that will be given to the JVM. JVM will be executing that bytecode, and it will give us the machine code or machine understandable language code, that is zeros and ones. So this is all about our history of Java. That is, before Java, there are certain programming languages. They are designed for a special purpose. First, when we come to, I will brief it out once again, that is what exactly the Java has been invented for. First, C programming language is designed especially for developing system softwares. All of you know that system software is nothing but which can be used in machines, which makes the system or a machine to work. So such kind of softwares have been developed using C language. Now coming to C++, this is one kind of an advanced language when compared to C language. It is used for gaming strategies, animations, graphics, 3D creations, 3D images creation. So these are such kind of things have been used or developed using C++ language. And one more thing, we will see what exactly the Java is designed for. Java is designed for, one thing is for sure, web applications, an application which can be run on internet. Now C++ is one kind of a language where it uses several concepts belonging to C and the several concepts belonging to OOPS concepts. Now Java uses only OOPS concepts. There is no strategy of using any kind of C kind of or C related features into it. Okay, all of you. Can I go further? Anyone respond to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Okay, I will share the next screen, which will discuss about what exactly the Java meant for and what is the advantage of using the Java and what exactly the features which are related to Java. So in the next screen, I will share that the topic, next topic, that is features of Java. That is the second topic in unit 1. Actually, this comes under first topic itself, that is introduction to Java. The subtopic, first subtopic is history of Java. Second subtopic is the features of Java. Now I will share the next screen. All of you able to see this document? Can anyone respond to me? Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
nice.
sir.
Okay, I will continue. That is the next subtopic is features of Java. It means every programming language contains some kind of features. Based on that, every programming has to be done. So these are some speciality over other programming languages. They are denoted as features of Java. Now these are the some of the key important aspects or features of Java. First one, it is denoted as simple. Java programming is simple. Second one is object oriented one, as you know, and it is distributed. Next one is robust. Next, architecture neutral and secure, portability, interpreted, high performance, multi-threaded, and the last one is dynamic. Let us see one by one. First one is Java is called as simple programming language. Why? Java programming language is called as simple because whenever you write a Java source code which is taking the help of C kind of a structure, what we see. Let us say that if you write a code that is hash include, let me share one more screen. Let me share one more screen, that is, where is this one? Okay. So in this, it uses one kind of a structure that is in C language. Are you able to see what I'm writing?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. In C language, we have a construct called as hash include stdio.h. Next, we have something like void or int main, let us say that. And after that, there is an open brace and it will contain something like a printable statement, that is printf hello, and after that close brace followed by semicolon and followed by close brace. Now this is a simple construct which is followed in C language. Now what is a construct which is followed by the Java program? So let me write the Java language construct. That it uses something like import java.lang semicolon followed by class name, class ABC, followed by open brace PSVM. What is PSVM? I will discuss later. Don't worry about that. And what are these? I will discuss later. Now then, system.out.println of hello. See, initially in C language, there is a construct called as hash include stdio.h, and in Java, it is something like import java.lang. And there is a main function. There is also a main function here. Sorry, I forgot to do this. Okay, this is void main. So there is a main function. There is a main function in C language also. There is a main function in Java also. And there is a printf statement which is used to display some text onto the screen. Similarly, here there is one kind of a println statement or system.out.printf statement is it. That is, constructs have been followed which is easily understood. The constructs which have been followed in Java will look like the constructs which have been followed in C and C++ also. That's why it is making the Java programming as simple as possible. Because if anyone knows about the constructs which have been used in C, C++, it is easy to write programs in Java language. Okay, I will stop this sharing. Let me go to the PPT. So it is defined as, first of all, when Java is developed, they wanted it to be simple because it has to work on electronic devices where less memory is available. To try to understand this point, the Java is meant for, first purpose is for writing web related applications. When compared to C and C++, they are not a program which is not suitable for web oriented applications. C programs and C++ are not suitable for web applications development. So that's why Java has came into existence. Now, and the devices, and the second intention of creating Java programming language is make the devices to be smart, or make the machines to be acting like smart. To make it happen, Java has been invented. And one more thing, when you use Java in your mobile phones, let us say that you are using a olden days mobile, is there Nokia or some kind of a model, the basic model of Nokia. Can anyone know that?
Yes, sir.
So in those kind of phones, there are some kind of applications which have been run using Java only. So where their memory is, the mobile phones memories are very less when compared to today's mobile phones. the basic strategy, basic versions of the phones have been containing less memory, where even the Java program has been executed there. An application which is developed using Java have been executed in the less memory oriented machine also. The intention of the first point is clear, I think so. Is that clear? Anyone respond, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. Let me go to the second point that is mentioned as, first of all, the difficult concepts of C and C++ have been omitted in Java. What are the difficult concepts in C and C++? First of all, we will be discussing some kind of topics which are related to C, C++, which are difficult to handle in C itself, C and C++ itself. Those who are convenient of or well in using pointers, let us say that those who are expert in using pointers in a proper way, then there is no problem at all. But if they don't know how to use pointers, there is an important concept called as a pointers in C, C++ as well as, and goto statement. So goto is one kind of a construct where it breaks the control of execution. So let us say that there are three statements initially. Let me share one more screen. That is text one. Where is the text document? Yeah. So when you discuss about goto statement, so here goto, there is one kind of a label one called as label will be there. Goto add, some kind of a name function has been given, followed by semicolon. So this is under main, I think so. This is under main. Let us say that. So while main program is executing some lines over here and over here and over here, and after that there is a statement called as a goto has been encountered. So what happens here is the control is shifted to a particular part of a program, that is add function. Let us say that there is one kind of a, some line of statements are also here. Next, some lines of codes are here, and then add is there. And after that, inside the add function, there is, let us say that there is goto also. Goto subtraction, let us say that. So if you write such kind of a clumsy and complex kind of a construct in your programming using goto statement in C language, it will be a confusing and it will be a difficult to track the errors. It is not an easy issue to track the error while using goto statement, because the control is shifting regularly from one statement to other statement. So it is one kind of a clumsy and it is one kind of a complex programming strategy when you use the goto statement. So I will stop this share and I will go back to the PPT. Yeah, it says that it is saying that first of all, the difficult concepts of C and C++ have been omitted in Java. Example, pointers. It is mentioned as pointer. Why it is mentioning as pointers initially? Because pointers are one kind of concept where a memory can be accessed very easily by using pointers. So if you can access memory easily, or if you have the address of any kind of a variable which has been pointed by the pointer, then you can easily change the data which is referenced by that pointer variable. So let us say that you are the owner of a particular program which contains 10 pointer variables which are referred to some important data. After that, when somebody knows that this pointer is referencing to some particular important data, they are able to access that pointer variable if you are not using it properly. They are able to use that pointer variable and they can change the data easily. So it may be a leak of memory which happens with this pointers concepts. So that's why Java omitted these kind of concepts in its features. It is mentioned as it has been omitted some important concept, that is some difficult concepts like pointers and go to statements. Next, and you can observe the third point, it has been the JavaSoft. JavaSoft is nothing but a team of Java developers. These are the people who maintain the same syntax of C and C++ in Java. As you know, just now I mentioned the constructs which have been used in C and C++ are looking similar, somewhat similar, not totally similar. Some similarity is there when you discuss about the programming constructs. Now, next feature is object-oriented. Second feature is object-oriented. Is that clear to everyone? Why Java is called as a simple? Respond to me. Respond. Akila? Akila, are you able to hear me? Is that clear? Why Java is called as a simple programming language? Anyone? Please respond. Anyone respond? Roll number 2, Vamshi. Vamshi,
Sir.
able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that clear that why Java is called as a simple programming language?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. Let me continue with the second feature that is called as object-oriented. So in this second feature, Java program uses mostly objects and classes. So classes are the basic features which have been used in Java programming language. As you saw some kind of, one second, are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. See, most of the Java programs uses at least one class to be defined. If their objects are available or not, at least one class should be there. So any program which is written in Java, it uses a minimum of one class in itself. So let me see what are exactly the object is and what exactly the class is. An object is anything that we see really exists in the world and it will be distinguished from others. Now, a simple definition has been given here. An object is nothing but a physical entity or a physical thing which exists in real world. And we can say that an object which we can touch, which we can feel and which we can see is called as an object. An object can be anything. An object may be a pen, maybe a pencil, maybe some kind of anything, mobile phone, any kind of an object which we can touch, feel, and see them. They are called as objects. Now, next thing is a class. Now, a class is nothing but the objects which have been physically appearance, they are grouped into one unit called as a class. A group of objects exhibiting the same behavior will come under the same group called as a class. So what do you mean by this? So if you have an object, there is compulsory and a class is related to it. So it means that every object, there is one kind of a class is there. So every class may or may not contain objects. You understand what I'm saying? Every object should contain at least one class. Every object will contain a class. That is compulsory, mandatory. When it comes to the class, every class may not have the objects. The class will be there, but the objects will not be there for it. Try to understand this point and try to note this point. I will discuss in depth with this topic once again, that is why class is called as, why class does not have objects. It may have or it may not have objects, but objects, every object should contain one class, belongs to one class. So in this class, there is one more point has been discussed, that a class and its objects are almost the same, with the difference that a class does not exist physically while an object does. Class is an imaginary thing. According to this point, it has been mentioned that a class is an imaginary thing while object is a physical thing. Let me share one screen. Is this? Yeah. Let us say that where we can say that table is one kind of a word. Who is this roll number 4? It is too late. In table is one kind of a word. It is a word, it does not have a physical shape until it has been created with the properties like wood. So let us say that table is one kind of a feature, that is, it contains some properties like every table will contain, the table may contain 4 legs. So it may be a table types will be there. These are the common properties which can be available in a table. 4 legs will be there. There is one, a flat surface will be there. Flat surface. So these are the common properties a table which contains. So they are not physically available right now, until we make a table called as a dining table or some kind of a study table. So it uses the basic properties like 4 legs and flat surface. Based on that, there are different types of tables have been designed, that is a dining table and a study table. So it is called as a class, and these are called as objects. Do you understand what I'm saying? Anyone, please respond.
Yes, sir.
That is, a table contains the common properties, which is nothing but a class contains common properties, and those common properties are utilized by the objects to define itself. That is, here object is nothing but a dining table. A dining table is may contain minimum 4 legs will be there. If you add some more legs, it's up to the dining table design. But the basic property is that it contains 4 legs. And one more example I can give regarding the class and the object. Let us say that there is a car. So every car contains, it is one kind of a variety that is a 4-wheeler, yes or no? 4-wheeler. And it contains some kind of a steering type also. It should contain at least steering and engine. So these are the common properties which are related to the car. But what exactly a car will be? The physical entity, maybe it is Honda car or some kind of a Hyundai, or it may be some kind of a Maruti. So the designs may be different. The common properties are these things. Every car should contain steering, engine, 4-wheeler. Every car contains 4 wheels, steering as well as engine into it. Now, if the manufacturer of an Honda will be using the same properties, then we call it as an object of that car. Now, this is a class we can say. So these are the common properties which are available and grouped into one unit called as a class. Based on that class, objects have been designed. The object may be anything, any manufacturer who is using the properties of a car and he wants to develop or a physical entity, then it is called as a Honda car or Hyundai car or Maruti or any kind of a car. I think it is clear regarding the class and the object. Anyone, those who have the doubts, please raise the hands. I will stop the sharing. Let me talk to all of you.
No, sir, no doubt.
Okay. Those who have those who have any doubts, please raise your hands. Otherwise, I will continue to the next feature, that is and in the last point, it has been mentioned as since Java is pure object-oriented programming language, every program in Java needs at least a class or an object. It is an important point. Just now I discussed. Every Java program uses at least one class or an object into it. But if you have an object, it means that there is a class. If there is a class, we are not sure whether there will be an object or not. These are the points to be noted. That is, if there is an object in a Java program, if we are creating an object, it means that there is a class. Otherwise, if you are saying that a class is there, the objects may or may not contain it. So let me continue to the next slide or next feature, that is distributed in nature. Java programs or Java is one kind of a distributed nature. Why we are saying it as distributed? Because it is distributed because whenever the first intention of Java to be developed is nothing but web-oriented application. The point is mentioned earlier, that is Java is suitable for web-related applications. So web-related is nothing but whenever you are connected to a network, you are connected, let us say that my PC connected to one kind of a server. When I'm requesting some resources like Google Chrome, or I'm opening a Google Chrome, I will type something into it. I want a resource from the server itself, Google server. So it means that whenever I request a resource, it is connected to internet. So Java is one kind of a platform where an application can be distributed over internet itself. An application which can be run from anywhere over the internet. Let us say that an application has been developed from Hyderabad, from my PC, can be executed the same application over the other location also. And it makes use of some of the important protocols like TCP/IP, that is transmission control protocol or over the internet protocol. These are the basic protocols where an internet connection has to be established and the communication has to happen from the client to a server systems. So from this point, I can clearly say that distributed is nothing but an application can be distributed over internet so that it can be executed. So an application which is developed using Java can be distributed over internet and can be executed easily. The main intention of the distributed feature is nothing but an application has to be communicated over the internet and it can be executed. Next feature is nothing but robust. What do you mean by robust? Anyone? Please try to answer this one. What is robust? The slide itself contains what is robust. Anyone? Please try to answer. What is robust? Are you able to hear me? What about participants? Akila? Akila? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why Java is called as robust?
No idea, sir.
Okay. As we see here, robust means is nothing but strong. Robust means strong. Why Java program is called as a strong one? Java program is called as a strong because C or C++ programs may crash in between of executing a program. Execution of a program, the C or C++ programs may crash because of some kind of usage of improper usage of the pointers or go-to statements. The programs may crash. So such problems will not occur in Java. Can you mute somebody? There is some kind of a disturbance. Everyone mute yourself, please. Kindly everyone mute yourself. Okay, let me continue this. Such problems will not occur. That is which problems? The problems like crashing of programs, which will not happen in Java. That's why we say that the Java programs are very strong and they can be executed anywhere. And one more thing, important point is in C++, we have constructors and destructors. Whenever we create a memory using constructor that has to be deleted manually, that is manually in the sense, program has to deallocate memory which has been created in the constructors in C++. But whereas in Java, allocation and deallocation of memory is not in the hands of the programmer. It is in the hands of the JVM to look after that one. JVM is one kind of an important aspect of Java where automatic memory deletion will be done by the JVM. It will not be taken care by the programmer itself. Programmer is not responsible for deallocating memory in Java. Automatic clearance of memory will be done by the JVM itself. That is the second point. It has been mentioned here. Next important point is architecture neutral. architecture neutral is nothing but the platform independency, as we say. Now, when you are writing a Java program in your PC with the Windows operating system, after compiling your Java source code, you will get a .class file. The .class file will be copied into another PC which contains an operating system called Linux. In that Linux operating system, you can execute this .class file by using a JVM itself. And try to understand, Java source code .class file is platform independent, whereas JVM is platform dependent. I will clear this doubt once again in the upcoming classes while we discuss about JVM. Next, let me continue. I think it is more than 45 minutes. Okay, let me finish this topic. Next important feature is secure. So in Java, security reasons are major issues here. Security, whenever any program or any kind of a piece of data, that should be secured and it should be transferred very securely. Let us say that if you are sending some message over your mobile phones, they are traveling through various networks and it is reaching to the recipients, sender to the recipients. So how it is maintained? So they will be a proper medium. It has been followed, or proper protocols and important protocols, secure protocols have been used by the Java program. That's why they are more secure and easily shareable. Next, Java features. Next comes to the portability. So, which is similar to some kind of a platform independency, which means that is, if a program yields the same results on every machine, then that program is called as a portable. It means Java programs are portable in nature. So let us say that if you are writing a Java program in Windows operating system and you are copying that .class file which has been compiled, so source code has been compiled and a .class file has been generated, the .class file has to be copied into another PC which contains another operating system. When you execute that bytecode, you will get the same result. It will not result into some unwanted errors. It will not result to other results. So whatever results have been seen in one Windows operating system, the same output will be seen in the Linux also. The results will not be different. That's why it is easy to carry, portable in nature. Next important feature is interpreted. Now Java is one kind of a programming language where it is interpreted one. Interpreted one is nothing but it uses an interpreter inside the JVM to convert the source code into machine code. But when you compare interpreter to a compiler, interpreter is very much slow than the compiler. So why JVM is using interpreter here? If you use interpreter in Java, so execution time will be more, the process time will be more enough. So what happens here? Why Java contains this feature? So Java contains not only interpreter, it contains the compiler also. When we discuss about C or C++, they contains compiler only. Only one feature is available in those languages. That is either compiler, that's it. Both of them, C and C++ contains compilers. Now coming to Java, they contain both, that is interpreter and compiler. So to enhance the performance of the programming in Java, interpreter is added with a different compiler called as a JIT compiler, JIT compiler, that is called as a just-in-time compiler, which enhances the speed of execution. So this is what happens with the Java program? Whenever a program has been written, it is converted into machine code by using both features like interpreter and compiler. Both interpreter and compiler to run the program in Java. Right. Next, multi-threaded. This is an important aspect which is not available in the C or C++ programming language. Now, thread is nothing but an individual process. Now, what is process? I think you will come across process in your operating system classes. How many of you know what is process? Unmute yourself and tell me, anyone. What is process? Process. What is process? Who is this? Sai Priya. Sai Priya. What is process? Do you know what is process? Anybody? Anyone? Anyone? Those who know the answer of process, please respond. Let me complete this one. A process. Okay, I will discuss this one. Okay, process is nothing but a program which is under execution status is called as a process. So every program which is under running status is called as a process. So Java deals with these processes by allocating threads. So process, individual process have been allocated with a thread, and a program in Java will contain several threads. Group of threads is called as process. Okay, group of threads is called as process. A thread is nothing but an individual process. So why we need this multi-threading? We will discuss when we discuss about the programming called as multi-threading in concepts programming. Next feature is dynamic. Java program carries, that is, dynamic is nothing but whenever you are, let us say when you come across web programming, there are two types of pages, dynamic pages and static pages. So whenever you are creating an application using Java, they are dynamic in nature because you can interact with the applications which have been developed in Java. That is, you can give inputs and it will be responding with some outputs. Okay, this is enough for today. I will continue remaining features. I think this is all about the features. I will come with the next topic in the next class tomorrow at 12 p.m. Thank you. Thank you one and all.